The Forgotten Ones. Chapter 1. Unearthing the Past. The flickering beam of Anya's headlamp danced across the rough-hewn tunnel walls, casting long, distorted shadows. The recycled air hung heavy, thick with the metallic tang of filtration systems and the stale scent of countless generations confined beneath the Earth's crust. Sweat trickled down her temple, stinging her eyes as she wrestled with a rusted metal hatch. Its ancient gears groaned in protest, the sound echoing through the oppressive silence. Another dead end, she thought with a sigh, another useless detour in the labyrinthine corridors that were her world. Anya adjusted the weight of the battered crowbar on her shoulder, its worn handle a familiar comfort in the perpetual gloom. As the youngest member of the scavengers, she was tasked with exploring these decaying tunnels, remnants of a forgotten era before the Exodus. The elders spoke of a time bathed in a vibrant blue sky, a time when life thrived without the constant hiss of filtration machines. Their stories were like faded murals in the dimly lit halls of communal memory, whispered tales passed down through generations. The rhythmic scrape of her boots was the only sound that dared to break the heavy silence. An unsettling stillness hung in the air today, a prickling sensation at the back of her neck that made her pause. This section felt different, a faint earthy scent mingling with the usual metallic tang. Curiosity, a trait that often landed her in trouble, flickered to life within her. Her boot nudged a loose rock, a hollow thud resonating in the stillness. Anya's heart hammered against her ribs as she crouched down, her headlamp beam revealing a newly exposed gap in the tunnel wall. With a grunt, she began prying at the debris, dust cascading down like a mini avalanche, coating her already grimy coveralls. Finally, with a groan of protesting stone, the gap widened enough for passage. Anya squeezed through the narrow opening, the air growing colder. The oppressive tunnel walls gave way to a small chamber, untouched by time. Her headlamp danced across smooth metallic walls that gleamed faintly, revealing a sight that stopped her breath. In the center of the room stood a machine unlike anything she'd ever seen. A smooth, spherical object pulsed with a faint blue light, intricate patterns etched into its surface seeming to writhe and shift in the flickering light. Anya felt a shiver crawl up her spine, a sense of awe and wonder battling with a prickling unease. This wasn't just another piece of scrap metal or a collapsed power conduit. It held a strange energy, an undeniable purpose that resonated within her. Hesitantly, she reached out and traced the alien patterns with her gloved finger, a forgotten whisper brushing across her mind, a silent plea for interaction. A rasping cough shattered the spell-binding silence. Anya spun around, heart leaping into her throat, to see Ezra, the oldest of the scavengers, his weathered face etched with concern. "What you got there, kid?" he rasped, his voice rough from years of breathing recycled air. Anya's hand instinctively tightened around the crowbar. "Look," she finally managed, her voice barely a whisper, stepping aside to reveal the pulsing sphere. Ezra shuffled closer, his eyes widening in surprise. He knelt beside the machine, calloused fingers tracing the alien script. A low whistle escaped his lips. "Never seen nothing like it," he muttered, his brow furrowed in thought. "Looks like technology from before the Exodus." Silence descended again, heavy with unspoken questions. The faint blue light from the sphere pulsed in the air, a silent beacon from a forgotten age. Anya straightened, a spark of determination igniting in her gaze. "We need to take this to the elders," she said, her voice firm. "They might know what it is." Ezra met her gaze, a flicker of hope lighting his tired eyes. "Maybe," he said, a gruff smile pulling at the corners of his lips. "Maybe this is what we've been waiting for." Chapter 2, A Whisper of Hope. The flickering fluorescent lights of the council chamber cast an austere glow on the weathered faces of the elders. Anya stood before them, the strange sphere humming softly at her feet, a stark contrast to the worn furniture and archaic technology that surrounded them. Sweat slicked her palms beneath her grimy gloves as she awaited their judgment. Elder Amara, her face etched with the wisdom of countless generations confined underground, spoke first. Her voice, though raspy, held a quiet authority. "This machine, You claim you found it buried deep within the tunnels? Anya swallowed, her throat suddenly dry. Yes, Elder Amara. It was hidden in a sealed chamber, untouched for who knows how long. Elder Kai, his eyes clouded with cataracts but still sharp, leaned forward in his chair. And what do you propose we do with it, child? Anya took a deep breath. I think it might be important. Maybe technology from before the Exodus. It could help us. A murmur rippled through the chamber. The elders exchanged uneasy glances, memories of a lost paradise flickering in their eyes. Elder Baran, a man known for his pragmatism, scoffed. Technology from before the Exodus? Child, that's nothing but a fairy tale whispered by those who can't accept reality. We rely on the colony for survival. This machine could be dangerous. Anya bristled. But what if it's not? What if it holds the key to reclaiming Earth? We can't just keep living like this, breathing recycled air, never seeing the sun. Her outburst hung in the air, heavy with defiance. The elders remained silent, their faces unreadable. Elder Kai, breaking the tense silence, turned to Anya. Tell me, child, have you found anything else with this machine? Any markings, inscriptions? Anya's heart leaped with hope. She rummaged in her backpack and pulled out a tattered data slate she had found near the sphere. This was nearby. It's corrupted, most of it unreadable. But there are some symbols that match the ones on the machine. Elder Kai took the data slate with trembling hands. He squinted at the faded screen, his brow furrowed in concentration. A flicker of recognition crossed his face. These symbols, I've seen them before, in the ancient archives, before they were lost. A hushed silence descended upon the chamber. All eyes turned to Elder Kai, anticipation hanging in the air. With a raspy sigh, he began to speak, his voice filled with a reverence he hadn't shown in years. These symbols, he said, his voice barely a whisper. They are the language of a civilization that existed on Earth long before the Exodus, a forgotten people. Chapter 3, The Gamble. The flickering emergency lights cast an eerie glow on the cramped tunnel, highlighting the nervous sweat beating on Anya's forehead. The weight of the deactivated sphere on the makeshift cart pressed against her back, a constant reminder of the burden and the hope it carried. Beside her, Ezra shuffled along, his weathered face etched with worry. Are you sure about this, kid? He rasped, his voice barely audible over the rhythmic scrape of the cartwheels. Anya glanced at him, determination hardening her gaze. We have to try, Ezra. This machine, it could be the key to a better future for all of us. Their journey to the abandoned control center, a relic from before the Exodus, had been fraught with danger. The elders, despite Elder Kai's revelation about the forgotten civilization, remained divided. But Anya, fueled by a spark of rebellion and a yearning for a world beyond the tunnels, had convinced Ezra and a handful of others to join her. The control center loomed ahead, a skeletal silhouette against the faint glow of distant emergency lights. Dust motes swirled in the stale air, a testament to the years of neglect. Anya reached into her pocket, retrieving the data slate Elder Kai had painstakingly deciphered. According to the elder, she said, her voice echoing in the vast chamber, this machine needs to be activated here, at the central control node. The group huddled around the deactivated sphere, the data slate clutched in Ezra's calloused hand. He traced the symbols with his finger, muttering under his breath. Activation sequence requires 3 access codes, he mumbled, his brow furrowed in concentration. Anya felt a cold knot of fear tighten in her stomach. 3 codes? Where are we going to find those? A strained silence followed, the weight of their impossible task pressed down on them. Just then, a low metallic whirring sound echoed through the chamber, followed by a hiss of escaping air. A section of the dusty floor panels retracted, revealing a hidden compartment. Anya gasped, hope flickering in her eyes. Inside the compartment lay a small, metallic box, its surface smooth and untouched by time. With trembling hands, she reached in and retrieved it. The box held 3 data chips, each engraved with the same symbols deciphered by Elder Kai. Relief washed over Anya, a surge of determination replacing her fear. "These are the access codes!" she exclaimed, her voice filled with excitement. Ezra nodded, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. Together they carefully inserted the data chips into the designated slots on the sphere. A low hum filled the chamber, growing steadily louder as the intricate patterns on the sphere pulsed with a vibrant blue light. Anya held her breath, a mixture of anticipation and trepidation clawing at her insides. The control panel next to the sphere flickered to life, holographic displays illuminating the room. Alarms blared, red lights flashing in a frantic rhythm. The ground trembled, dust raining down from the ceiling. Panic surged through the group, but Anya stood her ground, her gaze fixed on the sphere. The pulsing light intensified, bathing the chamber in an otherworldly blue glow. Then, with a deafening boom, the sphere erupted in a blinding flash of light. Anya shielded her eyes with her arm, a scream dying in her throat. When the light subsided, she opened her eyes to a sight that took her breath away. Holographic screens materialized in the air, displaying detailed schematics and unfamiliar symbols. The control center, dormant for centuries, was awake. Chapter 4. Legacy and Reprogramming. The holographic displays shimmered before Anya, a dizzying array of symbols and schematics swirling in vibrant blues and greens. Beside her, Ezra squinted at the unfamiliar language, his brow furrowed in concentration. The control center, once a tomb of forgotten technology, pulsed with renewed life. Anya gingerly reached out, her finger hovering over a pulsating icon on the holographic display. A tremor ran through her arm as the image zoomed in, revealing a detailed illustration of the Earth, but not the barren wasteland they knew. Lush green continents dominated the image, vast blue oceans teeming with life. A choked sob escaped her lips, tears stinging her eyes. This was Earth as it once was, a vibrant paradise before the Exodus. A wave of overwhelming emotion washed over her, a mix of awe, grief, and a burning hope for a future they could only dream of. Suddenly a harsh alarm blared, red lights flashing ominously across the control panels. Anya spun around, heart pounding in her chest. A new message flickered on the holographic display, the symbols morphing into a series of pictograms they could understand. Warning, automated defense systems engaged. Intruder threat detected. Ezra gasped, his voice trembling. Defense systems? What does that mean? Anya's mind raced. The message was clear. The machine perceived their actions as a threat. Panic threatened to overwhelm her, but she forced it down. They were on the verge of something incredible, and she wouldn't let fear stop them. Elder Kai, his voice crackling through a dusty communicator they had brought, cut through the rising panic. Anya, can you understand the message? What does it say? Anya relayed the message, her voice shaky but firm. A tense silence followed, broken only by the rhythmic hum of the reactivated control center. Then Elder Kai spoke again, his voice filled with a newfound urgency. There may be a way. The data slates mentioned a fail-safe protocol, a way to override the automated defenses. But it requires user authentication. Anya's stomach clenched. User authentication? How? We don't have anything like that. Elder Kai's voice grew strained. Perhaps the data chips, the symbols on them, they might be access codes from the forgotten civilization. Hope flickered in Anya's chest. It was a long shot, but it was their only chance. With trembling hands, she removed the data chips from the sphere and carefully inserted them into designated slots on the control panel. The room thrummed with unseen energy as the data chips were analyzed. A tense silence stretched, punctuated only by Anya's ragged breaths. Finally, a new message appeared on the display. User authentication confirmed. Override sequence initiated. A collective sigh of relief swept through the group. The red lights dimmed, replaced by a pulsating blue glow. The sense of imminent threat receded, replaced by a cautious optimism. Anya turned back to the holographic displays, a new wave of determination washing over her. The defense systems were neutralized for now, but their work wasn't done. They needed to understand this machine, its purpose, and how to use it to heal their broken world. Elder Kai's voice crackled through the communicator once more. Anya, the data slates, they also mentioned something about terraforming. Anya's eyes widened. Terraforming? Could this machine be the key to restoring Earth's lost atmosphere? To breathing fresh air under a clear blue sky? A single tear rolled down her cheek, a tear of hope for a future they had only dared to dream of. Chapter 5. A New Dawn. Decades of dust motes danced in the shafts of light, filtering through the newly opened hatch. Anya, her heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and trepidation, emerged from the tunnel for the first time in her life. Ezra followed close behind, his weathered face etched with wonder as he gazed upon the sight that greeted them. Before them stretched a vast, cavernous space, unlike anything they had ever seen. Lush green vegetation carpeted the floor, bathed in the soft glow of artificial sunlight filtering from high above. Water trickled in a gentle stream, the sound a symphony to their ears accustomed to the constant hum of filtration machines. Anya gasped, tears welling up in her eyes. This wasn't a dream. This was a biodome, a testament to the forgotten civilization's ingenuity, a sanctuary preserved beneath the Earth's crust. The air, cool and crisp, filled her lungs for the first time. It was the taste of freedom, of a future they had only dared to imagine. As their eyes adjusted to the unfamiliar light, they saw structures in the distance, sleek, metallic buildings adorned with strange symbols. A shiver ran down Anya's spine. They weren't alone. A holographic message flickered into existence before them, displaying a humanoid figure with smooth blue skin. Its voice, synthetic yet calming, echoed in their minds. "Greetings. You have successfully reactivated the terraforming protocol. Earth's atmosphere restoration has commenced." Anya stared at the holographic figure, speechless. They weren't just reactivating a machine, they were initiating a process that could heal their planet. Hope, a vibrant flame, burned bright within her. Suddenly, a crackle of static interrupted the message. A new figure appeared on the display, its voice distorted and tinged with anger. "This is Captain Roan of the Colony Fleet. Identify yourselves and cease unauthorized activities on Earth." Anya exchanged a worried glance with Ezra. The colony, the distant outpost they relied on for survival, had returned. Were they coming to claim their birthright, or to control the technology they had unwittingly unleashed? Elder Kai's voice crackled through the communicator, his voice heavy with concern. "Anya, what's happening? Who is that?" Anya took a deep breath, the crisp air filling her lungs with newfound courage. She squared her shoulders and faced the holographic figure, a newfound determination hardening her gaze. "We are the descendants of those who remained," she said, her voice clear and strong. "This is our home, and we have awoken its potential. We will work with the colony to heal the Earth together." The holographic Captain Roan remained silent for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Then a flicker of understanding crossed his features. "We have received your message," he finally said, his voice gruff but not unkind. "Further communication will be established. Stand by." The holographic image flickered and disappeared. Silence descended upon the biodome, broken only by the sound of the trickling stream and the gentle hum of the terraforming process. Anya turned to Ezra, a smile breaking through the tears on her face. "We did it, Ezra," she whispered, her voice filled with awe. "We woke up a new dawn." Ezra nodded, a broad smile etched on his weathered face. As they gazed out at the verdant paradise before them, the flickering light of hope became a blazing sun, symbolizing a new beginning for humanity and their forgotten home. The future, once shrouded in darkness, stretched out before them, filled with the promise of a new sky and a second chance.